Hey, it's Brian from Strong Tower Neuro, and wanted to give a long form video on CO2 based breathing. And why would you want to do carbon dioxide based breathing? Well, number one, it's really important that we have enough carbon dioxide so that we improve cellular respiration. We get oxygen where it needs to go, both in the brain and the other body tissues. So quick illustration here, this is how the biochemistry works. Let's say that the basketball here is a cell, and then I have a tennis ball, and this is oxygen being carried on a red blood cell. So the heart's pumping out blood, and red blood cells going out to this cell, and oxygen is going to come up to the cell wall and say, hey, I have some oxygen available, do you need it, and can I make a trade here? And if your cell doesn't have anything to trade, there's no CO2 present, this oxygen will be carried on the red blood cell to the next cell, and this cell doesn't get oxygen. So over time, that can become problematic. However, if this cell here, the basketball, has some CO2 inside the cell wall, and the red blood cell carries oxygen out and says, hey, I got some oxygen for you, I see you need it, can we make a trade? And if yes, there's CO2 present, we get CO2 carried away, and the oxygen gets where it needs to go into the cell. So an exchange is made, these are exchange molecules, and that's why it's so important that we not only have enough oxygen, but we don't overload with oxygen, we also have enough CO2, so these exchanges can be made, and we have a good balance. So a technique, we did a short video on this, technique to improve CO2 tolerance and also to improve cellular respiration. Really simple one is bag breathing. When would you do bag breathing? Just about any time you're stressed. Definitely with, personally, if I have any sort of congestion, I have a cold, stuffy runny nose, this is a great time of year, both talking about stress and also talking about immune stress and having cold and flu and that kind of thing potentially going around. Thankfully, our family has not been impacted by that a whole lot this year. And some of these techniques, I think, might play a role in that. So staying healthy, moving the body, exercise with the right amount of it, exercising some really important systems, the respiratory system being one of those key systems. So with bag breathing, all you need is this really cheap, if not free tool, plastic bag. So what I'm going to do is cover the nose and mouth. I'm going to breathe in and out into the bag. There is a little bit of a functional test involved here too. So if I'm coaching a client, there's a certain amount of time, certain duration that we're going to want to see that they can actually bag breathe. It's not actually super long. It's within a shorter window. And if that's causing some breathlessness in that shorter window, we know we're probably producing enough CO2. If you can just breathe in and out of the bag for a really long time, we may not be producing enough CO2, and these techniques might be even more important for overall health, energy, metabolism. So some of the benefits here, talked about in the last video, reduce muscle tension. You're going to see a reduction in oxidative stress and reduction in inflammatory markers, typically when these techniques are done consistently, and also we can see a slowing of aging processes in the body. So I'm going to go ahead, breathe in and out to the bag. So typically, personally, I'm getting 10 to 20 breaths before I start to feel a little bit winded, a little bit breathless. And then because I'm rebreathing CO2 levels are going to be raised through this. And then I'm just going to take the bag away and breathe normally. Sometimes I'll do this in a workout. So in a given training session, maybe I'm doing kettlebell swings, doing some box jumps, whatever it is. I'm going to do the exercise, go bag breathe, take the bag away, do the exercise again, and just repeat that. Typically, won't be able to bag breathe as long because the exercise itself, especially if it's strength training, high intensity exercise, it's going to start to raise CO2 levels already. And so the bag breathing intervals are going to be a little bit shorter with that. So just wanted to give you some explanation of the biochemistry, why this is so important, and why we see it as just a really useful tool for improving fitness and also overall health. Thanks.